Hi, everybody, and welcome to one of the final of the season Bastards post-game shows. It's great to have everybody here once again to talk some Red Sox. And the Red Sox lost again tonight, 2-0. Chris Sale was your starter, gave you 5 innings, gave up 1 run. We'll dive into it a little bit more. I want to welcome Brendan in. Brendan, how you doing tonight?
Well, Nick, Red Sox lose another. They are doomed for last place
Mhm.
in the East. Got to congratulate the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah,
What a
good point.
rebuild. Um, they're gonna win the AL East. I'll be rooting for them in the playoffs. They're a good story. Uh, I do not like the process that they went around to get this far. Tanking for like 5 years. Not my way of doing things, but they are players in the East now. So I'm glad for them. Hopefully they contend. You didn't have the best night for the Sox, really just coming from the bats. They really couldn't get them going tonight. 3 hits.
I think I saw a stat for the month of September. The Red Sox are 4-17.
That sounds right.
4-17. It's what it's come to.
A
The crazy part
soulless.
of all of this, the crazy part of this is really all the starters have continued to play. They've
Yeah.
all continued to play. So you can't even say that the Red Sox just tanking it right now because they were giving everybody equal opportunity. I mean, Casas hasn't been there. Justin Turner's been in and out, obviously, with the injury and everything. They're starting to shut a few players down and all. But for the most part, this is what you had. This is what was assembled. This is what we've witnessed to see. And this is one of the most painful Red Sox seasons that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime.
Oh yeah.
Even with I'm gonna even go back to 2012, the Bobby Valentine season.
That was tough, Nick.
I it
That
was
was pretty
but
bad.
you still had the Pedroias, you still had
Yep,
Ortiz,
this is
you
true.
still had your star power. Some of them were hurt and everything, but this right now is just going back to the 90s when I was a little child having to watch and grow up with that team. Oh, they
And
don't.
Nick,
I mean, they just don't have a star, Brendan. They just don't.
this is true. This is true. We need big ticket guys in the free agent market. What I'll note from Alex Cora in the post game today was he said when it really looked good, what was working this season was the high flying bats of Jaron Duran and Tristan Casas, the two young bloods that were
Hmm.
just they were fearless and hopefully there's a way you can get them back in next season. Um,
If they're here,
if they're here, like we've talked about on multiple occasions, everyone is for sale with the right price.
even Sale.
Even Sale, who was named starting next year, I don't really agree with that move, but they're
Let's get
banking
into
on.
that. Let's get into
Yeah,
it. So
let's do
Alex
it.
Cora before the game was able to talk with the media, and he said with a straight face, "This is no joke. Chris Sale is his opening day starter for 2024." I think that remote control that I threw out my window is all the way down the street in a million pieces at that moment from hearing what he had to say from that. That is embarrassing. That is a middle finger to your Red Sox fans. That is unacceptable. If we are going into the season with Chris Sale as our number one ace for next season, count me out. I'm done. Count me out. I am not sitting through another season like that. I can't.
Yeah, Nick. At this point, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and
It's what they
expecting a
like to
new
do.
outcome. This is what Chris Sale has become, the story of Sale. I mean, you saw him come in this season, lightning in a bottle for about 3 weeks, and then shut down for another 3 months. So I really don't understand it. I know they're gonna get some studs. I know they have to. They've lost the fan base. This is
Mhm.
just another doubling down. I'm wondering how much sway and power Alex Cora has in this system. I mean, they're replacing Bloom and they're looking for GMs around the notion that Alex Cora will be the manager, which is the big storyline. Is they're gonna get a
I
guy.
am still not 100% on that. We'll believe it when we see it. We'll believe it
But
when we
he was
see it.
quoted yesterday for saying, "I'll be here next year." So he
He'll be
knows.
here next year, but I do not know if it's going to be in that manager spot. I don't. I think he could be reassigned. I really
Okay.
do at this current moment. The other news of the day, too, involving next season was Sam Kennedy and Alex Cora will be there to wrap the season with the post-game conference from Sunday or Monday, whenever they recap the year and close it out. No Tom Werner,
Terrible
no John
year.
Henry. Puppet show. They
Yep.
play again, obviously, tomorrow. They play Saturday and Sunday. Cutter Crawford, I believe you said, goes tomorrow. But that's about all I want to talk about on that. I want to change the gears, and I don't want this to be long, but I'm sure everybody now knows in Red Sox Nation about the report that came out last night on Curt Schilling's podcast about Tim Wakefield and his wife battling just an awful, awful, awful disease with cancer. When the report started coming out last night, I listened to the podcast and everything, and I'm going to take Schilling for his word. I know he's very controversial in everything that he does with all of his things. He's got his critics and everything like that. But I said to myself, he can't be lying on that. Well, it started to circulate a little bit more this morning, and people started to get real pissy at what Schilling was doing. But I kept saying to myself, I really hope he has the authority and was given the right and everything to say something about this, because if he doesn't, that's going below the belt on there, personal information coming out and stuff like that. If that were me, like if I was in Wakefield's shoes, I would be very upset. But I want to run down about a little thing that happened, but called respect. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there. Catherine Veritek is obviously the wife of Jason Veritek, and it's a close, tight-knit group, and they have information. What I didn't like on how this whole thing went down is the story should have been about Wakefield and his wife, not about Curt Schilling. So what Catherine tweeted out was, F you, Curt Schilling, that wasn't your place. Totally understand that. Totally get it. But I also think that could have been handled in a much more mature, better way as well. I think the whole thing handled across the board from Schilling and some of the other, people within the organization was not classy. I'm going to put it like that. Not classy. So I tweeted right back out. I said, well, that's not called for at all, when Curt was simply just trying to offer his prayers and condolences. Everybody is just thinking of the Wakefield family during this horrific ordeal. It's what I just tweeted out. The amount of nastiness that came out today from this horrible story with Tim Wakefield, some people should be real ashamed of themselves. One of the things that I can't stand sometimes with social media is that it can be vile and disgusting. And that's what was shown today with a story that meant a lot to not just the Red Sox organization, but to the fan base that Tim Wakefield was able to build upon his career and everything like that. So some of you fans out there should look yourselves also in the mirror and say, you know what, respect yourself and respect others, because all other people really wanted to do today was just to offer their condolences and just hope for the best for this whole family. I'll give you a minute. Sorry, I needed to go off on that because it really bothered me today. I think you could tell down at the office Definitely. It was bugging me. Go ahead, Brendan.
Powerful stuff, Nick. Powerful stuff. It really is tragic news to hear. I remember his career was so amazing. I grew up watching Tim Wakefield in that starting rotation. Amazing knuckleballer, but honestly, great man on and off the field, in the booth, all of it. All I can do is offer my prayers and let them remain in privacy, because that's what they wish from now.
And that's what we all will be doing as well. Absolutely.
All I can say is God bless him.
Well, I just want to, again, for the Bastards family, I can't speak for everybody, but I can at least speak for myself here from it all, is that we're hoping for the best, and we never want to get reports and stories that come out like this. But I also hope that this serves as a learning lesson for a few things. Number one, for Curt Schilling to shut his mouth if he doesn't know information. If he shouldn't be saying something, then you shouldn't be saying something at all. That's number
Definitely.
one. And then number two is respect other people too, because other people also are stand-up citizens and don't deserve the disrespect that happened from today either. So we can all learn a lot from stuff like this. Keep it together. I got to cool off. Sorry, I had to vent a little bit around that, but it was a long day. Brendan, I appreciate you being here as well. We'll see you all again for the final 3 games, 2023.
Have a good night.